Hi there, welcome to Terrorland Soap Opera. Today I'm going to do a reading for Sagittarius energy. And like usual on this channel, we're going to do two rows. The top row I'm going to refer to as High Vibe Sagittarius. The bottom row, a more worldly, shadowy Sagittarius energy. We've all got our dualistic nature. Our shadow nature is our fear, our insecurity, our pride, our ego, our lust, our greed, our codependency, wanting to blame everyone else for our problems, petty, envious, jealous, competitive, the list goes on. And we might want to move forward in life differently. It can't even just be wanting to stay in our comfort zone. And we could want to move forward in life differently. But, we struggle. We have free will. We have to make choices in life. And if we pick this, we might not pick that. If we are going to go get a different job, we won't stay at the current job. If we aren't hanging around with certain people to go hang out with other people, some people could really be battling within themselves. Some people have worked through the debate, and some people are moving forward in life differently. Some people don't feel the need to move forward in life differently, and we all kind of look at life differently and heal and grow and mature at different times in life. And some people are perfectly fine living their life the way they are, just like we've been perfectly fine living our life the way we were at different times. But there can come a point where we are in this battle within ourselves, and we are thinking of moving forward in life differently, just view life differently, feel differently about ourselves or the world around us. High vibe people are motivated and inspired to listen to their intuition and love to guide their decisions. And they've went through these struggles within themselves. They've worked through their fears and their insecurities and their self-limiting beliefs. And for some people, that's why they're not going to move forward, because you have to work through those things, and some people would rather not work through them. I'll just keep doing life the way I'm doing it. And so, Sagittarius energy, fire sign energy, what motivates and inspires us? Sagittarius is also about higher learning and education. Are you willing to try to wrap your brain around this game of life? Or are you going to keep repeating the old patterns over and over? So, the reason for the bottom rose reading is the Five of Wands, which talks about inner conflict. The reason for the top rose reading is the Four of Swords. I meditated on the truth and I healed from past pain and heartbreak. Some people are very competitive in the world. The Four of Swords is Libra energy. It's the reason why the reading came out. We can come in contact with different people in the world, and in our own Libra energy, what we think is just and fair is different than what other people think is just and fair. Shadowy Five of Wands in Leo energy can be, I think it's just and fair to live more from my ego. My truth is I'm very competitive in the world. I could treat people I get in relationships with like they're the opponent I need to defeat. Some people are in their ego. Some people are defensive. Some people got a lot of inner conflict they haven't healed from. The truth sets us free. We have to be willing to deal with the truth. And some people don't want to deal with the truth. They don't want to deal about the truth within themselves. They don't want to deal with the truth about other people in their life and things in their life that cause them a lot of inner conflict or try to manipulate them. And we'll keep putting up with things until we've changed. The fives talk about change. We can be in situations we can put in a lot of work and effort trying to change other people. Everybody has free will to live their life the way they want. View life the way they want. View themselves, view other people, view the world, view relationships and what they think is just and fair. Any way they want. We can offer love and encouragement. High vibe Libra would be meditating on the truth, love, justice, fairness, character, integrity, treating other people the way we like to be treated. Some people have a lot of inner conflict with that. I don't want to be just and fair. I don't want to do love. I get hurt doing love. I don't want to be loving. Some people are quite egotistical and self-centered. Some people like to be bossy, controlling, think it's just unfair to manipulate people to get what they want. Shadowy Sagittarius is kind of being an immature player. Basically, you got lessons to learn in life. And some people haven't learned those lessons. But high vibe people have learned, I can't change other people. All I can do is offer the truth and be loving and be just and fair. Treat other people the way I want to be treated. If they have a problem with that, I see the truth of it. And I don't. Shadowy energy can be having inner conflict about the truth. I don't have inner conflict about the truth. I accept that some people want to live their life the way they want to live it, don't want to do love, don't want to be just and fair, have some growing, healing, maturing to do. And I accept the truth of it. And I wish them peace. And I stand in my truth in high vibe Libra energy. Other people that you might be dealing with harness a more shadowy Libra energy about what they think is just and fair. And high vibe people speak their truth. They get balance within themselves. Have I been tipped out of balance where I'm indulging poor behavior in myself or in others? It starts within me. I have to get balance within myself. If I want justice and fairness, I have to stand up for justice and fairness. And then we have the Six of Cups, which can be, I've worked through my issues of the past. The Six of Cups can talk about, I've reconciled myself with the past. I accept that people are where they're at. I can't change other people. Only other people can change themselves. Just like I'm the only one who ultimately can make a decision to be just and fair, truthful, honest, loving. Everybody else has to make that decision. Not everybody did. And the Six of Cups can be that some people are repeating old patterns. And you saw the truth of it. I don't want to repeat that old pattern. I have been there and I have done that. The world talks about, I've learned lessons in life. There's certain patterns of ways of living life. I don't want to live that way anymore. If I used to live more from my mind than my heart, and I was defensive, and I was repeating old patterns, done with that. I don't want to repeat those old patterns. And if there's people in my life that want to repeat those old patterns, they're going to have to repeat those old patterns of ways of viewing life with someone else. The Six of Cups is also Scorpio energy, which in shadow can be more keeping your emotions buried beneath the surface. Some people like to live more from their mind than their heart and keep their more emotional, vulnerable nature, authentic nature buried beneath the surface. And they might like to be in relationships that are more emotionally shallow and superficial, because with the Six of Cups being Scorpio energy, which is emotional water sign energy, it does, we're emotionally complex human beings. We can have a lot of confusing, complex thoughts about the same people. I hate them, I love them, I don't want to talk to them, I hope they call me tomorrow, and it's confusing. And some people decided, I'm not doing it. I instead am going to harness a more worldly, shadowy Scorpio energy, live more from my mind than my heart, and maybe make my life more about the world. And other people who harness high vibe Libra, high vibe Scorpio, the truth is they want to be in deep, meaningful relationships. High vibe Scorpio is, I want to explore the mysteries of life emotionally. I am an emotionally complex person. I don't want to keep my more emotionally intuitive, creative nature buried. I want to go explore the mysteries of life. And in high vibe energy, I'm willing to learn lessons. The world talks about completing an old cycle. I lived my life a certain way. I learned lessons during that life experience. And I learned what I do like and what I don't like, and what traits and characteristics and ways of viewing life are like good building blocks that I want to take with me moving forward. And the things that I learned I needed to let go of, I'm going to let go of those things. And some people refuse to do that. It's like they might want to keep moving forward with you in a relationship because you're loving and you're balanced and you're free from things that manipulate you, and you're harnessing high vibe Leo energy of the Seven of Wands. You're loving, you're warm, you're giving, you're nurturing. And they might want to come with, but it's like, but you're repeating these old patterns and maybe defensive or self-protective, live more from your mind than your heart. I want to be in relationships with people who are more balanced between their mind and their emotionally loving nature. Because high vibe Libra is about being balanced. High vibe energy is about being balanced. Yes, I want these things of the world, but I also want loving, authentic relationships. And some people are like, no, it's more about the world, or it's more about me, or my defensive nature. It's like, okay, well, I'm sure you'll find some people who want to work together with you and live their life like that, but I've maybe already been there and done that, and I offered you love. I tried to work things out with you. I tried to move forward in a relationship being a victory, but you were defensive to healing and seeing the truth. And I have been enlightened to the truth. I have learned some lessons in life. And I don't want to make my life about being defensive to healing, being defensive to the truth, trying to keep putting work and effort to balance out things in a workplace, a friendship, a relationship, a family dynamic. If you're defensive to the truth and healing and being more just and fair, the whole thing is, why would people live their life that way? Well, for one reason, that's how they view life, and that's their truth. It's hard to view life differently when you don't view life differently. Everybody has their way of viewing life that they find emotionally fulfilling, and maybe that makes them feel more stable within themselves and balanced. It's like if somebody tried to push you out on a stage, because we either step out onto the stage of our own life and live our more authentic life, or shadowy King of Swords can be where we let our more self-protective, defensive nature, our ego, run our life. And there's some people who try to present themselves as harnessing more high vibe energy, but they don't. Oh no, I'm motivated and inspired by love. Oh yeah, I've reconciled myself with things of the past. That's over. No, I don't love those people anymore. No, I don't want to balance things out with those people. No, I want to move forward with you in a victory. But why? Some people aren't telling the truth. They're living, it's more like strategy. When you live, you're either harnessing high vibe Leo energy and you're being authentic, and you're being loving and warm and encouraging, and you're balanced within yourself, and you really have healed from past pain and heartbreak and your defensive nature and your immature nature. Other people just try to create the illusion of being that so that other people will view them as this just and fair person and will keep defending, trying to balance things out in a relationship with them. But their truth is they are still defensive to healing, seeing the truth, speaking the truth, being just, being fair, being loving. But they want people to buy into the illusion of who they are and keep trying to work on a relationship with them. And there's some people you could know in your life, you could be sitting over here, you know the truth. And there's some other people, say you left a job and you got in a job and they're like, oh, we're these just and fair people and we work cooperatively together and we're encouraging and supportive of each other. And then you get in the job and you find out that is not the truth of who you are at all. You offer people and create the illusion that you're these just and fair people to get people to get in the job and work to balance things out with you, and then you're defensive to being like just and fair and truthful and honest and authentic. And then shadowy people are hoping because people have their own fears and insecurities and want for these things of the world, stability, security, have a job, have friends, be in relationships, that they can act in these shadowy ways, and that you'll keep staying in denial of the truth. And because of your own past pain and heartbreak and fears or insecurities or defensiveness or codependency, that you'll keep being defensive to seeing the truth. And then someone who's kind of more shadowy has kind of trapped a more just, fair, authentic, loving person in a work environment, a friendship, or a relationship. And some of you could have went through something like that. And in the bottom row, we have the Five of Pentacles, the Nine of Pentacles, the Emperor, and the King of Pentacles. We can all have went through something that we thought was going to be just and fair in maybe a cooperatively balanced relationship of some sort, and it ended. And we had love for those things or people, if it was a job or relationship. And we're kind of trying to find our balance, but we can always still kind of be defensive to the truth if we love people, because we don't want to believe that they're more about themselves or something. We like to think that they really did love us, right? So we can stay in a defensive stance for a while. And it could be that we'd have to offer love to the past, learn the lessons we were meant to learn from it in the Two of Pentacles, pick up our investment in the past and get more balanced within ourselves, and be inspired to love ourselves and heal. So, but we've all been there, right? And some people are still there. Other people have moved on. They have picked up their investment in the past. They learned the lesson they were meant to learn. They freed themselves. They're standing up for themselves. And if there's people in their life, and especially if they're just within themselves, they're standing up. There's certain people in my life I don't want to heal a relationship with. Do I wish you peace and love? Yep. I want more people in the world to be more balanced and to heal from some of their issues and be more balanced and motivated and inspired by love. Do I want to get in a relationship with you again? No. And you could feel that way towards certain people. Some of those people could feel that way about you. Other people in the world, we all can have people that your truth isn't my truth. What you think is just and fair, I don't think is just and fair. I wish you peace and love, but that chapter is over. And I no longer view that as a relationship like that I want to get back involved in or try to heal. Especially if I already did try to do that and people rejected it. Not out of ego, but, it could depend. When we get down here, we'll maybe find out a little bit more. Because we don't want to do things out of ego. It's just more that I did do all those things and that wasn't enough. Well, some people might come towards you as you're moving forward in your life just because the things that are more aligned with their truth, people they align themselves with that were more and are more aligned with their truth, that didn't work out. So now they're in their ego, still maybe don't want to deal with the truth, and then they think, I know, maybe I should go make an offer to this other person that I entered a relationship with. But it's like, I was in a relationship with you and I was being just and fair and authentic and loving and trying to work things out, but you didn't want to do that. So I think I gave it everything I could. I think we completed that cycle. I gave everything I could to trying to work things out, and, love and authenticity and justice and fairness and working together cooperatively, that wasn't enough for you. And for some people, there's never enough. Because again, they might have some pattern of a way of viewing life and relationships that they think are just and fair. And it could be that shadowy King of Swords can be where people, male or female, that if they say something's just and fair, you're supposed to think it's just and fair. And if you are trying to move forward in life differently, in a more just and fair and balanced, authentic, loving way, and they're like, no, that is not my truth. This is how I want to do a relationship. It's like, okay. You apparently have some inner conflict about detaching from some way of viewing life. And I think we found out that what you think is just and fair and what I think is just and fair and how you want to move forward in life and in relationships, you might want to get in relationships, but you want to keep juggling people and being defensive. I want to be in relationships with people who aren't juggling and who aren't defensive, who aren't operating more from their shadowy Leo energy of ego and defensiveness. That might be the type of relationship you want to be in, or you want to keep juggling, or you can't decide, what your truth is. Well, I've decided what my truth is, and I told you my truth, and apparently that wasn't your truth, right? So some people still have a lot of inner conflict. What I started to say is we can all have been in relationships or situations in our life that ended. And we can all get in relationships with people because we kind of feel left out in the cold. Whatever it was that we had been involved in at one point in time, and some people are going through it right now, we're kind of a little bit in our ego and feel a little bit left out in the cold and rejected. And from the Five of Pentacles going to the Nine of Pentacles, it's taking back the Four of Pentacles, which could have been a foundation we were holding on to, that we wanted to work together with those people or stay in that job. But we're having to move forward, and we have to let go of that foundation because some of those other people decided they didn't want to move forward like this, and we maybe decided we didn't want to stay in it. And so it ended anyway. And we're single. Or single from a job, or single from a friendship. Then we have the Emperor and the King of Pentacles. And people either underneath the Knight of Wands is being inspired to deal with your inner conflict and like, hey, if we love and believe in ourselves and we work through this inner conflict, we could look to the future and have a new beginning based on seeing the truth, because the truth sets us free. And then we're inspired. In the Queen of Wands, the queens can talk about how we think and feel. The masculine energies can represent how we're presenting ourselves in the world. And we're inspired to taking a leap of faith because we offered love to ourselves to go with the flow. And we could have done that in a relationship. People can get in a relationship. They're kind of defensive because something they had been in didn't work out. They kind of feel left out in the cold. They're single. They have decided they want to be in a relationship. And then, you're kind of moving forward. And you either are a just and fair person who wants to be in deep, meaningful relationships, but the one that you were in ended. So you're doing this work within yourself to still kind of have hope and faith and belief in your dreams. I don't want to keep staying in an energy of feeling betrayed and I might not want to take action more out of my pride or ego or lust and greed. I'm going to listen to my intuition and take a leap of faith and in love to go with the flow. So then you could be moving forward in the world, and then you meet some other people, and we can tend to think when we meet other people, and there could be a lot of things we have in common, and that's why you get in relationships and kind of stay in relationships. We could have a lot of the same ideas of what we think is kind of just and fair, of things that we like to go do in the world, and kind of ways of viewing life, and could have similar backgrounds as what the Six of Cups can talk about, could have had kind of similar family background dynamics or whatever. So it kind of feels like it's in your comfort zone. But the difference can be with some people in our life. With some people, we come into friendships and relationships with people. We both are working through some issues. If both people are kind of inspired that, I can overcome this, I can learn lessons from this life experience, and I do want to learn lessons because I don't want to repeat that past pattern. If I need to see the truth about where I need to heal and grow and mature myself, I want to do that. I also want to see the truth about maybe what I wasn't seeing about the people I had been in a relationship. So next time I kind of meet people and get involved with people, I no longer want to be caught up. Shadowy energy can kind of be being in denial, maybe being tempted more by your lust or your greed or your pride or your ego, or feeling left out in the cold and just wanting to be in a relationship, right? And if we've done that enough times, it's like, no, no. There is a part of me that would like to do that, but I've already been illuminated to the truth that when I do that, it doesn't work out the way that I want. So I am going to hold my sword up to my own more egoic nature of self that might want to go repeat that old pattern, and my more codependent nature. And because of these life experiences I've went through and these things I have been illuminated to, I am not as naive and gullible as I was before. I'm inspired. It stops me. My own more emotionally mature nature stops my more immature nature from running my life and going and repeating an old pattern. It's like, nope, we're going to love and believe in ourselves and believe in our dreams. We're going to learn the lessons we were meant to learn from this. We're going to know our worth and value. We're going to make better decisions in our life. We might have learned to listen to our intuition, where maybe before our intuition was screaming at us saying, I don't think this is a good idea. I don't think this person's on the same page. I don't think this person's motivated by love. But we wanted to go do it, so we did it. We all got lessons to learn. So then it's like, no, from now on, I'm going to start listening more to my intuition. And I'm going to quit staying in denial of the truth. When I do meet people who, if I'm not still in more immature, competitive, prideful, egotistical, materialistic, lack mentality, codependent energy, I don't want to get in a relationship with someone who's in that energy. And if they show me that they're that kind of person, I'm not going to stay in denial of the truth. I'm going to listen to my intuition and love myself enough to stand up for what I believe in. I want just and fair, authentic, have I Leos like authentic. I want authentic relationships with people who've learned lessons in life, who have offered love to the past so they can let it go and be free. High vibe Sagittarius is going on an adventure in life, knowing that life, because it's also about higher learning and education, that not everything we go pursue does turn out the way that we want. We would like it to have, but it didn't. We have to deal with the reality. Other people, if they were motivated and inspired and viewed life the way we viewed it, and that was their truth, and they thought that was just and fair, they'd be in relationships with us still. But they have their truth. They have what motivates and inspires them, what what they like, what they don't like. And we just have to accept the truth of it. Some people moved on because they felt like, and they maybe were more bold, brave, confident, emotionally mature, and balanced than we were at some point in time. And we also have moved on from people that we thought, were kind of immature or shadowy energy down here, can be maybe more materialistically motivated, maybe more self-focused, maybe a little more bossy or controlling, male or female, maybe immature, maybe competitive, maybe emotionally defensive, lack self-discipline, codependent. It's like, and we had all those lessons learned, and we got in relationships with all those different types of people for us to learn, is this my truth? Is this not my truth? Do I want to stay in this? Do I want to keep trying to work on this? Is this the kind of people that I really think are aligned with my truth or not? And all of it, when those experiences happened, caused us inner conflict because we kind of had fear of having a new beginning. And we also kind of had inner conflict about turning our back on a way of living life or hanging out with certain people, because then we do have to move forward and we have to take that leap of faith and we have to listen to our intuition and we have to love ourselves and we have to stand up to our own shadow nature and other people in our life who want us to keep hanging out with them and probably want us to stay in whatever old way of viewing life or living life. And it can just be our more immature, worldly nature, prideful nature, defensive nature. There's always going to be people, other shadowy people in the world, or more immature people, whatever, that would be happy if you were in that energy, because then they'd be in a relationship with you. Then they would stay in a relationship with you. But if you've detached, and you're not living more from your mind than your heart, you're not willing to just get in a relationship just because you feel left out in the cold, well, then those people don't want to be in a relationship with you either. Well, but you're offering me love to be more balanced and authentic and loving and healed and just and fair and balanced, and I'm not in that energy. I haven't offered love to myself in the past to heal. All those things still manipulate me. Or I'm still immature, and I think it's just and fair to be more about me. So that can be a reason why some people aren't in a relationship with you, because they don't want to do that. And they could hope that if they go take action towards the competition, align with different friends, family members, get in other relationships, that you'll feel betrayed, you'll be in your ego, and instead of continuing to love yourself and stand up for what you believe in, you'll put an end to that, and you'll come back and offer them a cup of love to get back in a relationship with them and do the relationship the way they want. And do it in the way that they think is just and fair. For some of those people, because some high vibe people in their life are standing up for themselves, keep offering themselves truth and love and maintaining balance within themselves, staying focused on the truth, looking at life from a higher perspective, keeping things in perspective so they don't get up in their head and in their fear, and they keep being in like high vibe Leo energy of the sun. I choose to be in an energy of hope and faith and belief in love, to love myself, offer love and compassion and forgiveness to myself, offer love and compassion to others. But I want peace and justice and fairness and authenticity. And I want to take that leap of faith and go on this adventure, letting love be the deciding factor in my life, not the fear, not the insecurity, not the codependency. And that's why there's some people that are like watching you go. Well, they maybe keep trying to manipulate you. Because you're either being truthful and honest and just and fair in a relationship and acting with character and integrity and treating other people the way you like to be treated, or people think, I have an idea. I think this person loves me. I don't think they would turn their back on me. I think I can be immature and competitive. I will try to manipulate them to get them to do what I want because I think I'm the boss. And some people, maybe because they have money or status or social clout or attractive or charming or whatever, and then just some people are just full of themselves. But if they have these kind of things of the world, they might think you don't have as much in the Two of Pentacles as like a King of Pentacles would have. I don't think you'll leave. I think I can manipulate you. And it's kind of the same way like at a job. Why do people justify shadowy Libra energy? People justify treating people poorly either because they want to feel powerful. I'm the boss of you. Oh my gosh, look, I was rude to you. You're defensive. Look, I'm causing you inner conflict. It's like this false sense of empowerment because their empowerment comes from the impact or whatever that they can have on other people. And sometimes bosses and coworkers and people can be like that. It's a way for them to feel powerful. More so, if they know that people want to be a part of that or love that job or love those people, right? And then some of the people we love, they have other people in their life that are bossy and controlling, and they don't like those people hanging out with more loving, encouraging people. I'm supposed to be the boss of your life. I'm going to maybe do and say things to cause you inner conflict about high vibe energy is about being more independent. And they can have friends and family members that's like, I don't like you going and kind of having this victory in your life and being in these just and fair and loving relationships. I'm not in a just and fair and loving relationship. And that would cause me inner conflict if you went on and lived the life of your dreams. So I have an idea. I'm going to try to make you stop moving forward, aligning with that energy within yourself, and aligning with those people in your world who are like that. I think you're codependent on me. I could be your friend or friend group. I could be part of your original family. I could even be a bad employer who, you shouldn't make your life about your family. You should make your life about this. And I think you really want this job. And, basically I'm going to try to make you more defensive to standing up for what you believe in, to try to get you to think that this is the foundation you should align with. I'm the person you should align with. You should live your life like we live our life. And then if they can get people to give up on believing in themselves and believing in their dreams and hanging out with the people in their life who are more authentic and encouraging and loving for them to grow to their full potential, they can have other people in their life who use the love that they have for them to manipulate them. And that's when you kind of are illuminated to the truth that some people that you're in a relationship with aren't very independent. And you might be more independent. And they're still codependent on friends and family. It's good to have your friends and your family in your life. But if you're going to get in a relationship with someone where, like, say you're going to marry them and have children with them, your relationship should be the primary relationship. That phase of life, it had its time and its place of importance in our life. But if we're going to work together with other people and trying to build a life to get the justice we deserve, then those other relationships kind of are a periphery relationship. But there's some friends and family groups that don't like that. I should still be able to control you. You should still make your life more about me. And some of these people do make those people more about them, even if they do get in relationships and marriages and have children with people. And there can be a time in the relationship where you realize that. we are not building a primary foundation here. They still haven't learned to be independent. They might try to present themselves in the world as this independent, stable, grounded, emotionally mature person who's ready to get in a more, build a new foundation with someone. But that was just an illusion they created. They really, their truth is they're still more aligned with their shadow nature, other people in their life, the world, their ego. It's love isn't the third party that they operate from in a relationship. It's this is the third party in this relationship, whether it's other people or my defensiveness or my pride or my ego or my immature nature, whatever it is. And other people see the truth of it. And people work through that inner conflict that if I'm in a relationship with people who have these things that manipulate them and those things don't manipulate me, though, shadowy energy are those things that manipulate us. So it's things that kind of like limit us, restrict us, imprison us, enslave us. Because at the big picture, shadowy energy is represented by the devil. High vibe energy at the big picture is represented by God. We are to be free of these things that manipulate us. We're to go out in the world offering love to people, to work together with them cooperatively, be loving and encouraging and authentic, treat them the way we like to be treated, being just and fair, to bring more justice in the world. But for some people, that's not their philosophy of life. Because they're either more about themselves or the world, and that just isn't their truth. And if they're imprisoned by things, which can just be the world, no, you got to live your life like this, and you got to act like this, and how about I go live my authentic life, and I treat people the way I like to be treated, and I treat people with love and respect. It's like, well, no, that's not good enough. You kind of got to look a certain way, and act a certain way, and dress a certain way, and don't hang out with those people, hang out with these people. It's like all these unwritten rules and regulations. Like, what about being authentic and balanced and loving? Well, no, it's more complicated than that. It's like, you might have made it more complicated. You and the world might have made it more complicated. And you might buy into all of that because you're still more caught up in having a certain status and image in the world where you don't go live your more independent, authentic life. And if I keep staying in a relationship with you, I have to let things that don't manipulate me. So it's kind of like shadowy energy having one person imprisoned and trying to use the love that you have for them to keep you imprisoned. And some of those people are hoping because you love them, you will stay imprisoned with them. High vibe energy is about being a leader in the world. And I view the King of Pentacles and the Two of Pentacles as Capricorn energy and shadowy Capricorn energy represented by the devil. I don't want to keep feeling left out in the cold. I don't want to abide by these rules of the world. I'm going to treat people with love and respect and be authentic and just and fair. What more rules are there in the world? And I'm going to become independent, and I'm going to be inspired to wrap my brain around this game of life, to detach from that way of viewing life, and I am going to be a leader in the world. Harnessing high vibe, Taurus, Virgo, Aries, Capricorn, and the other people might harness a more worldly Taurus, Virgo, Aries, Capricorn. All three earth sign energies. In our worldly nature, we're either more aligned with the world or all of our earth sign energies have to be on board. And we all tap into earth sign energy within us. What our truth is, what our long-term goals are. Is it to be a leader in the world? Is it to heal? Is it to free ourselves from things that manipulate us and to learn lessons in life? To stand up for truth and justice. And some people are like, yeah, no, that's not my truth. I think I'm still, and it's all a process of becoming. Some people just aren't there yet. You know, I'm still defensive to listening to my intuition. I'm still defensive to being more authentically myself. I'm afraid of taking a leap of faith. I'm afraid of standing up for myself and speaking my truth. What would people say? Other people might go away. Other people might have conflict with it. It's like, well, then that's for them to deal with. You're treating people with love and respect and being just and fair. Why is it a problem for some people? It's a problem for some people because they wanted to be indulged in their more shadowy Sagittarius energy. I want to be immature and I want you to indulge me being immature. I don't want to have to do this. I don't want to have to see the truth about some of these issues within myself and in my world. I want to keep doing this. You should just love me and let me move forward with you. And it's like, but you're like in shadowy kind of defensive energy. I want to be in a relationship with people who aren't defensive to love and being just and fair and being authentic and warm and loving. So then they have some lessons to learn and they're going to go get in a relationship with competition, aligning with people who still have their inner conflict. And they might feel a little left out in the cold. You know, they could be moving forward with people in relationships or either repeating this pattern again with someone else who is more high vibe, hoping that person, because some people think that's what's just and fair. Well, it's just and fair for me to be more about myself or more bossy and controlling or more immature or whatever. My idea of the just and fair relationship is if I am single and I have a certain status or image or look a certain way in the world, there's supposed to be people who are supposed to want to be in a relationship with me. That's how I view life. And it's like, well, good luck. You know, it might have been easier to get people to do that when people were 18 and 21 or 25. But as other people have already been in those type of relationships, male or female, they've learned that they don't want to be in that kind of relationship anymore. And they do want a more just and fair and balanced and authentic and not to indulge someone in their poor behavior. But some people, nope. I still think people should indulge me. Or I think I'm the boss. I do think it should be more about me. And other people have picked up their investment in them and are defensive to them. And then those shadowy people can feel betrayed. How dare you love and believe in yourself? How dare you take a leap of faith to heal? I didn't take a leap of faith to heal. You shouldn't have done that. It's like, you know, and everybody they can be mad because during the course of life, you learn lessons in life. You got out of your more immature egoic nature. And you're more balanced than you used to be. You know, at age 18, you're more balanced and view life differently than you did at age 15. And at 21, different than 25. 25, different than 21. And there's certain people that could have had a viewpoint in life that, you know, when I get to a certain stage and I maybe have grown into my looks or my physique or I have a certain status or image or money or power or influence, well, then I thought I was done having to be more just and fair. Maybe they felt it was always a struggle and always had inner conflict of having to be more just and fair in relationships. It wasn't their nature. And then they thought, when I get to this certain position, or I get someone to take the job, or I get someone to marry me, because the King and Queen of Pentacles is the only married suit of the deck, well, then I can really let my hair down and be my more natural self. I'm going to put an end to, you know, acting in a way that isn't aligned with my truth. I'm going to let my real nature come out to play in the world. And that's when some people feel betrayed because you weren't who you presented yourself to be. And that's when the people do the struggle within themselves. We can all be tempted in our worldly nature. We can all like things to work out the way we wanted them to work out so we don't have to leave that job, friendship, or relationship. But in our defensiveness, if we keep offering, you know, kind of standing up for ourselves, offering love, but it has to be just and fair and balanced, in love. Offering people love. Work together with me cooperatively. And if the other people are like, nope, not going to do it. Nope, not going to do it. I don't think you'll leave. Eventually, some people, they're not going to don't like being manipulated. You're either willing to be truthful and honest and just and fair and authentic and loving, or that's not really who you are or what you want to be. And I see the truth of it. And I am going to do this work to free myself and move on. And then those people mad that you loved and believed in yourself and weren't willing to play the game the way they wanted you to play the game, and they're mad that you've healed. Some people could go take action to do something to try to cause you inner conflict, and then they think, oh, that didn't work out the way I wanted. They're not as loving or as just or fair or inspiring as those people were. So then they could think, well, I'll end aligning with those people or doing those things, whatever it is. And I bet if I'm single, then those people will be kind of juggling. Did they change? Didn't they change? They're not hanging out with those people or doing those things anymore. And then it's kind of a thing to kind of keep you, they think, kind of in a holding pattern. I don't know, what should I do? What should I do? And then so long as they know or think that you're in a holding pattern, because they're still in their ego about speaking their truth and tempering their ego, then they kind of go back, and especially if you're standing up for yourself and they have a hard time, they might have a lot of inner conflict and pride or ego or lack mentality, and they need to boost their ego, and so then they go take action to feel better. That's kind of the devil too, right? Shadowy energy. I want to feel better now. Kind of like short-term gratification. So they go indulge in something to try to look like they're the boss, male or female. Look how victorious and successful I am, and look what I'm indulging in again. And every time they take action more out of not being authentic and just and fair and balancing things out with you, is the more you keep seeing the truth that they're not who you thought they were. And they are kind of immature, and they are competitive, and they do have a lot of inner conflict to deal with. But instead of being honest about it and dealing with it and reconciling themselves with it and seeing the truth of it, of why they might do the things that they do, by the time some of those people figure it out, other people have moved on, and they have no interest in reconciling. They've maybe gotten in new relationships that are good workplaces, friendships and relationships that are inspiring and just and fair and balanced. And it's a victory worth defending. And the other people realize that the previous things weren't a victory worth defending. And sometimes all of us, we've all had lessons to learn, and we could have not moved forward with certain people in friendships or relationships or growing or healing or maturing ourselves. And by the time we do learn those lessons, and we might want to communicate to other people that I learned these lessons in life, because high vibe energy isn't about being in your ego and you're being authentic. Some of the people we go communicate with will be defensive to healing a relationship with us, or if it was romantic, they've already moved on. But for other people, it might be, if they think same way, just like you, as you're moving forward, as someone from your past comes towards you, or just people you meet in your present or your future, you've learned these lessons in life, and they were hard, painful lessons to learn. I'm not as immature and conflicted and codependent and in lack mentality like I used to be. I have done this work within myself to heal and grow and mature myself, and I am making better decisions in my life. And just like you're going to be in that energy as you move forward, other people that you might meet and communicate with are in that energy. And if you already had a past experience with them, because the Six of Cups can reference that, some of those people will be defensive to you because they have their own things that they're standing up and defending. Other people might be, people have to consider, how am I living my life? And it can make people pause about how they're living their life. Am I moving forward in things because I'm still trying to heal? But the truth is, I might be moving forward, maybe more because I'm juggling in a little bit my ego. And I really need to take this time to get clear about my truth and think about who I should be moving forward with and who I shouldn't. Because at any time in our life, we have to evaluate that. We go on these new adventures and it's like, wait a minute, wait. Why am I in this? Why are they in this? Am I in relationship with people who are kind of hiding that they're moving forward with me? More because of their lack mentality? More because of money or status or ego or image? Are they just kind of indulging me in my ego? Does this make logical, practical sense? Is that why they're in it? Or do we have a deep, meaningful relationship? And everybody's got to go through that process. And as you're moving forward, there could be some people in your life, from your past, from your present, people you'll meet in your future, that are kind of going through this too. And, it's just kind of speaking and getting to know people in the world, offering people peace and love, being authentic, being balanced. The people who are more on the same page as you will be inspired to get to know you better, and the people who it's like, that's not for me. They're not there yet. And then there could be other people, it's like, you're a nice person and everything, but there can always be other people who are more bold, brave, and authentic and confident and blah, blah, blah than we are, right? And they kind of want to hang out with people more on that level, To each your own, and everybody likes to hang out with people who are kind of on the same page as them. But high vibe people have learned lessons in life, they're healing, they're maintaining balance within themselves, and what is coming up for them that they might not see coming? This card that's not showing itself. And why? Because of the Seven of Cups. So here we have the Six of Cups. High vibe people saw the truth, and the truth is love. You offered yourself a cup of love to reconcile yourself with issues from your past, to be more tipped in favor of your hopeful, believing, loving nature, believing in yourself, believing in your dreams. And because of that, the way I view this card when it's not showing itself is that what some people don't know about you, because there could be other people thinking, hey, maybe I want to get in a relationship with that person. And some of those people might communicate with you or make an offer to you, but what they don't know about you, because we view life a certain way and we tend to think that other people view life the way we do. What they don't know about you is that you don't harness this energy in a more shadowy way anymore. You offered love to yourself, and what people don't know about you, especially maybe some people from your past, is that you now harness this energy in a high vibe way. The Page of Pentacles. So the Page of Pentacles could be that you, because the Page of Pentacles can represent all three of your sign energies, that before your foundation did operate being more kind of just aligned with the world, focused on the world, caught up in the illusion of the world. And I think we all do that. We can be a loving person, be just, be fair, but the first 3-4 decades of our life, we're pretty focused on these things of the world that we want to manifest, and we're all caught up in it, and we're sure if we have those things or do those things or blah, 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 we'll be happy. And you went and did that, and you kind of felt left out in the cold. Like, I might have a lot of those things of the world that I wanted, but I feel, when we're in our more worldly nature, we're not paying and not as motivated and inspired to pay attention to I don't know, our spiritual nature, our creative nature, our more hopeful believing in our dream nature, because we're so caught up in these things of the world. That's what the Seven of Cups can be, caught up in the illusion of the world. And you are kind of more tipped in favor of that, which is normal. But then as we go through life in tarot, they talk about it being in your south node. And then as you learn these lessons in life, you get tipped more, maybe free willingly, of course, to be aligned more with your north node, like your true purpose in life. But you had to learn these lessons. And what some people don't know that you are moving forward in a new beginning, that you did learn these lessons, that you're no longer caught up in illusion about some people or confused about a situation. They might still think you are. They could keep doing things thinking they're causing you all this inner conflict, that you keep feeling left out in the cold and you're in your ego, and it's like, you keep playing those games and I'm going to keep moving on. And I'm not interested in that old foundation anymore or living life like that. And you're in like high vibrational Page of Pentacles. All my earth sign energy is invested in having hope and faith and belief in my dreams, getting justice, healing. And that's the type of people I'm focused on. That's what my energy is focused on. And I'm willing to be a student of life. Life is about learning lessons. I learned the lessons I needed to learn from those past life experiences. I am ready to go to the next phase of life. And some people, their whole life is about trying to create this illusion about their life. Some people think you're just creating an illusion. You're just doing a really good job at looking like you're very stable and grounded and balanced and loving and moving forward in life. And they just think you're creating an illusion, that you're still in inner conflict and in your ego and feel betrayed. And it's like, I've moved on. I've healed. They just don't know it yet. And they might not know that there might be other people that you want to invest in. What's going on for people who harness a more worldly, and you've cut out, when you quit aligning with that energy in a more worldly, shadowy way, you've cut out wanting to align with people in that energy. And some people that do harness a more worldly, shadowy, Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus energy, you're not interested in being in a relationship with them. But they might not know it. What's going on for the more worldly, shadowy Sagittarius is that they might not see coming the King of Wands. Why? Because of the Six of Swords and the Judgment card. More worldly, shadowy people, the King of Wands is like the Emperor, shadowy Aries energy, shadowy fire sign energy, where they're still either more motivated by the things of the world or themselves. And that's their dream. The Six of Swords is Aquarius energy. This is my truth. I think moving forward in this way is the answer to my problems. It will resolve any inner conflict and mental conflict I have. I am sure judgment will go in my favor. This is a good idea. I want to maybe look like a shining star, or I want to be the center of attention. I just need to find someone who might feel left out in the cold, who's single, who has inner conflict about loving and believing in themselves, to get them to come get in a relationship with me or marry me. Because then it'll look like I've had a new beginning, like I've changed, like I've grown, I've healed, I've matured, but they haven't. But they just want to create the illusion they've done that too. And they're sure this is a good idea. Well, they're acting like that. And at any given moment, some kind of more worldly, shadowy people in the world have some high vibe people in their life who are harnessing this energy in a more high vibrational way. High vibe Aries and Aquarius, who want to be their friend, want to work with them, want to be in a relationship with them, would like a dream to come into reality with them. But as they keep trying to offer them motivation and inspiration to have hope and faith and belief in themselves and look at life from a higher perspective so this dream can come into reality, eventually the high vibe people see the truth. And the Six of Swords moves away from the Five of Swords, and the Fives are about change. We can get caught up in this illusion that we can change other people. All we can do is offer people love and encouragement. They have to make the free will decision to align with that energy within themselves. And eventually some high vibe people see the truth. This isn't your truth. If this were your truth, you'd probably already have been that kind of person when I met you, or when I got in a relationship with you. And that's not your truth. And I finally see the truth. You have your truth of what motivates and inspires you and your idea of the dream life or dream relationship and what you think is just and fair, and that's different than my idea. And I finally see the truth of it, and I'm calling judgment on it. And I'm going to speak my truth, and I've done probably this inner work to reconcile myself with the truth of this situation, that this is... I've just reconciled myself. You have your way of living life and kind of life and relationships you want to be in and how you want to live your life. And it's different than how I want to live my life. And high vibe people offer peace and love to it so they can let it go and be at peace. And they move on to go find people in the world who they think are more on the same page as them. And then those people are going to go find people that they think are more on the same page as them. Sometimes people are being hurtful and unkind and defensive and cold and bossy because they want you to leave. Because that's not their truth, and that's not how they want to move forward, but they don't want to be the one to take the action. Because some shadowy, worldly people, it is more all about their ego and their image, and they know that they're not a very authentic and loving person authentically. They might try to present themselves that way, but really what they think they have going for them is their looks or their status or their image or how people view them in the world. And that's what they use to try to get people to get in a relationship with them. So they might act in all those shadowy ways and are defensive to healing a relationship with you because they want you to go so that they can go live their life the way they want to live it. And it's really maybe been causing them a lot of inner conflict to try to live their life in a way that really isn't aligned with their truth. And, you know, they could have been hoping they would grow or heal or mature themselves and get more balanced within themselves, but they're not. And so then it's kind of like they can't keep up the illusion because you do keep growing and healing and maturing yourself. And they were creating an illusion maybe when they got in the relationship about how stable or grounded or mature they were to begin with. How do I keep faking growing and healing and maturing when I wasn't even that when I got in it, you know? And then it caused them a lot of inner conflict, and they want to go indulge in what they want to go indulge in and live their life the way they want to live it. They just don't want to tell the truth about it, you know? So if they can get you to leave, then they can go maybe play the poor, poor, pitiful me. I was left out in the cold, and that person wanted to be single, and that person whatever, and I'm the stable, grounded, loyal, committed, just fair person. You should get in a relationship with me. You should marry me. And then the next person gets in a relationship with them, and they buy into the illusion of who they are, and they move forward in a relationship. And then the same thing happens again. It's like, wait a minute. And this whole pattern repeats over and over again. For some people, they got out of a relationship with loving people because there was someone who had money, status, or whatever they wanted in the world, and that person had a relationship end on them, and they decided they wanted to go get in a relationship with that person because it really was just more about them. That's why it's dangerous to stay in a relationship with someone who you know really isn't authentically, emotionally investing themselves in the relationship, because they're in it not being more emotionally invested. And then it's really not love that motivates them. And if someone else comes along that's more immature, more willing to indulge them, has more ego, image, money, or more defensive, or more immature, and they can be more immature with them, they'll go get in a relationship with that person because love wasn't why they were in it, maybe to begin with for some of them. And it's really all about them. And for some of those people, though, it's not going to turn out the way they want. You know, some people, again, have this illusion. I can be in this shadowy energy, and if I just find someone else who's loving, then it'll be like a loving relationship. It's like, you don't get it. Both people have to be operating from truth and love and be inspired by love. One person can try to keep it going, but eventually that person's going to feel betrayed. Because it's like their cup never gets filled. It's always filling the other people's cup and putting in the work and effort to make it a more just and fair and inspired and loving, balanced relationship. And then other people could get in a relationship with them and they realize you're not the loving, creative, inspired person. You try to present yourself as that, but I think the last person you were in a relationship with, they're the ones who made your relationship seem that way and be that way. You are much more aligned with living more from your mind than your heart, maybe using your emotions manipulatively, using your sexuality manipulatively, using your looks and your charm or your money. It's really about being indulged or the status or the ego or the image. It's not about love, and eventually the other people realize it, and the other people wish them peace, and the other people move on, seeing the truth about them and being defensive to them. And then some of these people just can't figure it out. Well, why do these people over here, I seem to act just like those people? I seem to be victorious or successful or balanced or just or fair. The thing is, the other people aren't creating an illusion. It is authentically who they are. The other people, it's like a mental strategy. I'm going to act like this, I'm going to dress like this, and I'm going to laugh like that, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to do that. And it all makes it seem like I am this type of person. But it's not the truth of who they are. It's not authentic. High vibe Leo, being authentic. Other people are operating from their ego, more from their mind than their heart, like a strategy. I mean, they might move forward in relationships that make them look very successful. I just think it's the people who might end up staying in a relationship with them are other people who that's how they view life too. It makes logical, practical sense. This looks victorious and successful. I'm willing to indulge them for these things, or they're willing to indulge me for these things, or we're both willing to indulge each other because we're both defensive to harnessing our fire energy in a more mature way. We indulge our more immature nature, and we're driven and motivated more by the worldly dream than deep, meaningful relationships. And that's fine. To each their own. They just need to find someone who is on that same page. Trying to manipulate people and try to get people who they know aren't more motivated to make their life about those things, but they try to trap them in a relationship with them, hoping they'll be in their ego about getting out of it. Settle for making life more about their dream when they knew that wasn't those other people's dream. That's an injustice. And they need to go find people who are more on the same page as them, but they might not like being in a relationship with someone like themselves. Someone else who has a lack mentality, someone else who's maybe emotionally kind of cold and lives more from their mind than their heart, who tries to emotionally manipulate people, is defensive to being more authentic and creative and inspired and loving and warm. It's like, but that's not the truth of who you are either. So if that's not who you are, this is a just and fair relationship. They thought judgment would go in their favor and that they could control things. But love and justice and fairness and authenticity and treating other people the way you like to be treated and truth and love, that's what really brings a dream into reality. They'll look like judgment went in their favor, but they feel betrayed. They're defending something that looks good in shadowy Leo energy, but they weren't willing to take a leap of faith like the other people were. So there you go, Sagittarius. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.